His nomination to lead the Office of Special Counsel, Trump loyalist Paul Ingrassia, is facing scrutiny due to the fact that, as the Washington Post points out, he shares Trump's disdain for the federal workforce he would be tasked with protecting. So with us, George Conway and Andrew Weissman. I don't even know where to begin. Andrew, let me start with you in the whole Alina Habba situation, because I'm a little confused here. I would love your reaction to the removal of the New Jersey federal judge so that Habba can keep her position. What's that about?
Sure. Well, U.S. attorneys who are nominated, they are given sort of an interim position while the nomination is pending. If it takes over 120 days for that nomination to go forward, under a congressional statute, it goes to the judges who sit in that district to decide whether to sort of re-up the person while the nomination's going forward. And the reason people don't really follow this, and it's sort of an arcane fact, is that through Republican and Democratic administrations, the sitting judges in a particular district invariably, whether they agree with the policies of that particular president or not, will reappoint the person who was nominated by the president. And you see that on both sides of the aisle. What the real story here is that in two districts, in New Jersey and in the Northern District of New York, the judges in both those districts, and those are judges appointed by Republicans and Democrats, thought that the Trump nominated U.S. attorney was so incompetent, was so inappropriate, and so sort of beyond the pale that the judges would not back that person for the next selection after the 120 days. They said no. So they said no to the Trump appointee in the Northern District of New York and to Alina Habba, the person who was selected in New Jersey. To me, that is the big story, that you have Trump who is just nominating people who are so beyond the pale that you have all of these judges saying, we're not going to do this. That is what is so truly abnormal in this situation.
You know, George, Donald Trump often does not make it difficult to tie things together, right? He usually does everything out front, which is why I think he gets away with so much. I want to play some sound during his first term about how he thinks about the DOJ.
I have said I'm going to stay away from the Justice Department, so I've wanted to stay away. Now, that doesn't mean I have to, because I don't have to. I can get involved. You know, the saddest thing is that because I'm the President of the United States, I am not supposed to be involved with the Justice Department. I'm not supposed to be involved with the FBI. I'm not supposed to be doing the kind of things that I would love to be doing.
Our Justice Department, which I try and stay away from, but at some point I won't.
I won't seems to have come, right? Because he has all of these folks who were either his attorney or his friend's attorney or, you know, someone who is just a like-minded person who is loyal to him, either whether it's Alina Habba, whether it's Emile Beauvais, who is now going to be a judge after going through the DOJ. How do you kind of think about that? I can guess. But
You've probably heard versions of this answer 500 times.
But it's getting worse. It seems like it's getting worse and worse.
Well, it's worse because there's no check against him anymore. Right. There are no checks against him. Actually, by the way, he was a lot more coherent a few years ago than he is today. But let's set that aside.
His mental acuity.
Yeah, no, but everything is. He's a narcissist. He's the most profoundly narcissistic individual we've ever seen in American politics. It's all me, 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 me. There is no other to him. The government belongs to him. He talks about his generals. It was always going to be his Justice Department. And he was always going to view the Justice Department and the Attorney General and everybody who works for the Attorney General to the lowest Assistant U.S. Attorney in the smallest district in the country. They work for him. They are his lawyers. They are his personal lawyers. And but he can't trust them all. So that's why he sends his actual own personal criminal defense lawyer to interview Ghislaine Maxwell. And let me just say, I mean, it's working for all these people who want these nice jobs, right, that they're not qualified for, like Alina Habba and the guy in the Northern District of New York. But, you know, Trump said something before the break in his incoherent way that actually the people who work for him now should remember. He said that the people who work for Obama, they're not protected by the immunity decision. Well, all you people who are getting those jobs right now, working for Donald Trump, whether you be the lowliest ICE agent or Stephen Miller himself, you better watch it because you don't have immunity.
Wow.
I just wanted to let that percolate
of course he's going to pardon them all, but I set that aside.
Andrew, let's talk about Emile Beauvais. He is nominated for an appeals court position, a lifetime appointment to what's known as a feeder court to the Supreme Court, which everyone thinks that is Trump's goal. But on his way to the confirmation vote, we now have 3 whistleblowers who have come forward to talk about just how problematic Emile Beauvais is. And the overarching question is, what will come of these whistleblowers who have stepped forward?
So one thing to note, and I really want to sort of call out Chuck Grassley, because Chuck Grassley has he's known as Mr. Whistleblower Protection, and he has done a lot. When I was in the government, he was known as somebody who was very much protecting whistleblowers and wanted to hear from them, and he has done a complete about-face. These whistleblowers, particularly Mr. Ravenny, was somebody who was a Trump loyalist. He defended all sorts of policies by the Trump administration in 1.0 and 2.0. He was one of the people who worked on the so-called Muslim ban. So we're not talking about some deep state person. His sin was, as the Fourth Circuit said, was telling the truth to the court. And for that, he was fired. The Senate will not hear from him. They have whistleblower information, they have texts, they have emails about Mr. Beauvais. Most famously, Mr. Ravenny recounts a conversation where Emile Beauvais says, with respect to the immigration cases, that if the courts rule against them, they may have to just tell them to, this is my polite version, pound sand. And when Emile Beauvais was asked about that, he said, I don't recall. Well, first of all, if you were to use the language that he used, you might actually remember it. But that means, even if you take him at his word that he does not recall, that means that there is uncontroverted, sworn evidence before the Senate from the whistleblower that this is what happened. They also have corroborative emails and texts about that happening, and yet they are not going to, it looks like he's on track to be confirmed.
Andrew Weissman, George Conway, thank you guys so much for joining us this morning. Lots to talk about. Still ahead, Democrats are pushing for answers on the Epstein crisis as Republicans dig themselves into a deeper and deeper hole in order to provide